Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 46. Chapter 46. And we're going to start at verse 1. All right. It's not a lot of chapters.
All
What we
right.
see, it's only 20 verses. All right. I'm not precepting except for probably this first verse. So, first verse states, Yahushua, the son of Navi, was valiant in the wars and was the successor of Moses and prophecies, who according to his name was made great for the saving of the elect of God in taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. Okay. So I gave a little hint. Well, I didn't give a hint. So we see it says Jesus, yes. Okay. Is this referring to the Jesus that people know about in the New Testament, also known as the Christ, right? Is it talking about him? Is this Yahweh Shai that we talk about in the New Testament? Okay, the Son of God. No, it's not him. So why is it saying this? Because the same name, Joshua in the Hebrew, is the same name as Jesus in the Greek. So when people try to argue with all that kind of stuff, you just realize this is the Greek name of it. Just like you see with the other names. Elias, right? That would be what? Elijah. So it'll be Elijah, and this is the English Hebrew, right? It'll be Elijah, and then in the New Testament, it will be Elias. Isaiah, right? You'll see that in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, it'll be Isaiah. Joshua, the Old Testament, Jesus in the New Testament. Okay. So one of those times I'm probably going to do a little bit, like I said, not a full, not an in-depth thing in Hebrew, but just showing certain things. Okay, because there's certain things that we should know. You know, we don't really argue here, but some people argue certain things. And it's good to have, some information to look at. So let me show y'all two spots with this as well. And just focus on names. So if you don't know, this is Joshua in the Old Testament. All right. The key, the son of, should be none, but this is how it's read, okay? And it's going to be talking about his works. So this is Joshua, but it's not an error. That's how his name is. It could be Joshua, or we see it in the Greek, Jesus, or more accurate, Iesus. Okay. Let's go to Acts chapter. Let me make sure this is one. Acts chapter 7. Once again, this is extracurricular knowledge. No. Okay. Acts chapter 7. And let's jump to we're going to start at verse 44. All right. So this is where, trying to see where it starts off. All right. So he's walking it down. All right. The high priest, are these things so? So then he said, men and brethren, fathers, hearken to the glory of uh, the God of glory appeared unto Abraham the father, our father Abraham. All right. So he's walking it down in order. All right. And he begot the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac, circumcised the eighth day. Okay, I'm just showing you that he's going in order. Then it talks about what? We're talking about Egypt. So now what? You get the Abraham, you got the Joseph, right, going into Egypt. And now you got what is going to be during the time of, Moses. Then you got talking about Jacob. All right, there was no corn in Egypt. Still dealing with Joseph as well. All right. Let me keep going. Let me keep going till another king rose, which knew not Joseph. We know that because in Exodus, for the whole shift happened, right? They said what a king rose that, or a pharaoh rose that did not know Joseph. Okay, and then what? Verse 20, and which time Moses was born. Just showing y'all is going in order. All right, so you keep walking it down, keep walking it down. It's talking about Moses, all the stuff with Moses. Yep, 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 yep. And then as we go, and this is why it's beautiful with the Friday night, because we can put these things together. Okay. Because remember, Moses was on the scene, and who was the other? Remember, Moses can't go into the promised land. But remember, he had Joshua. Joshua was after Moses, Joshua the son of Nun. Okay. So now you go to this is why I say it's in order. Anytime one walks by, just walk them right down. And then in verse 40, saying unto Aaron, make us gods to go before us. For as for this Moses, which brought us out of the land of Egypt, we would not what is become of him. All right. So once again, going in order. Verse 44. Our fathers had the tabernacles of witness in the wilderness, as he had appointed, speaking unto Moses that he should make it according to the fashion that he had seen. Okay, so Moses was told to replicate a tabernacle. Verse 45, listen, which also our fathers that came after brought in with Jesus into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drave out before the face of our fathers unto the days of David. Okay, so this one, right? This Jesus was doing this. He what? He went into the possession of the Gentiles, and then it says what? He drove them out into the days of David. It's not talking about Christ. A lot of people, because they think Jesus was the only person named Jesus, because they're looking at that name, right? But it's a common name. It's basically Joshua's name. Okay, so this you have to understand the context of what's going on. Joshua, remember when Joshua goes in there, what? He has to fight people in there, right? Because they got the land of Canaan. They're going in there fighting. That's the promised land. Moses is not in there. So that's why I said the fathers came in and brought in Jesus or Joshua into the possession of the Gentiles, whom God drove out before our face until the days of David. Okay? So it just goes right order. But if you don't understand that Jesus' name is just Joshua, you're going to try to force this to be something spiritual. Oh, yeah, Jesus in the Old Testament. No, it's just talking about Joshua. They share the same name. Okay? So that's just one piece I have for you. There's actually, I think the other one. That'll be enough. There's another one I believe in Hebrews 4, but we'll have to deal with that. Okay. So just showing the point. So when you see this name, don't automatically, for the most part, when you use these, definitely in the New Testament, it is talking about Christ, right? But this is why we even use references, right? They'll say Jesus the Christ, all right, to distinguish this is who we talk about with this one, right? Just like you got John. John, a lot of people can name John. They say what? John the Baptist. Okay, so it's showing you this is how it's distinguishing it because it wasn't just a name that nobody knew. And I'm saying this because I was under the impression like nobody had this name. Okay, but no, that's not true. And of course, in the Greek and stuff might not mean nothing. I mean, Jesus with the all that stuff. I won't go too much into it. But of course, you go to Hebrew, it means something, right? It means to save. All right, that's the translation behind it, right? God saves. All right, so this is him, and so Joshua was the successor of Moses in prophecy. Yes, we know that. Who, according to his name, was made great for the saving of the elect of God and taking vengeance of the enemies that rose up against them, that he might set Israel in their inheritance. Okay, like we read on Friday, our inheritance was what? The land. The land was part of our inheritance. Okay, we're riding on our screen. All right. Verse 2. How great glory gat he when he did lift up his hands and stretch out the sword against the cities, who before him so stood to it. For the Lord himself brought his enemies unto him. Did not the sun go back by his means, and was not one day as long as two? So once again, beloved, we're going to be reading this right through, but you'll have to go to the story of Joshua, and we're going to, well, we'll get there eventually, Lord's willing, through the Fridays, and you're going to see these things. So yes, the sun did stand still. He asked this, they were slaughtering their enemy, and basically, when it get dark, people can, escape and, all that kind of things. So like, ask God, keep the sun basically still so we can go and finish the slaughter. All right. And the sun stood in place. All right. So this is what it's referring to. Verse 5. He called upon the Most High Lord when the enemies pressed upon him on every side, and the great Lord heard him. How did he respond? And with hailstones of mighty power, he made the battle to fall violently upon the nations. And the descent of Betharon, he destroyed them that resisted, that the nations might know all their strength, because he fought in the sight of the Lord, and he followed the mighty one. Excuse me. So, just so y'all show the reference. So, yes, The Most High literally fought for us in the sense of what? The hail. Okay, he used the hail to destroy some of the enemy. Right. Let me um let me grab you verse that goes with it. So it's verse 6. All right, just to show a little proof with. Let's go to Joshua 10 and 11. Because all this writer doing, he know the story. He just, walking it down. Because once again, what are we doing? We're praising great men. We're praising great men. So he is one of our good patriarchs. All right, Joshua. Okay. So this Joshua 10, I'm going to start at verse 10. Joshua 10 and verse 10. And Yahweh discomfited them before Israel and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon and chased them along the way that goeth up to Bethron. You just read that, right? And smote them Azekah and unto Makkedah. Verse 11, listen. And it came to pass as they fled from before Israel and were in the going down to Bethhoron that Yahweh cast down great stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died. They were more which died with hailstone than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword. Okay, so this is how our God fought for us. All right, so more the enemy died from the hailstone, the hail that the Most High was throwing down from heaven than the actual getting killed by us by the sword. All right. So when we talk about God fighting for us, this how some of the ways he fights. Sometimes he'll use vessels, human vessels, to deal with certain things. Sometimes he'll use nature itself, right? We talked about like earthquakes and tsunamis. Basically, I think like an earthquake on maybe under the water or whatever, right? Hail, all those kind of things, tornadoes, hurricanes. The Most High directs all these things. So all these things ain't that's sad. Sometimes he's what? He's pouring out wrath on people. And a lot of times when you correlate some of these things to some of these places, don't see always coincidence. Sometimes they'll throw the news, this place doing this, and that. They doing all this witchcraft or this and that. And then you'll see later on, hurricane just wiped all these things out. Not as the Most High, right? You can continue to do so much great sin and go up to heaven. And the Most High say, you know what, let me sprinkle a little bit of my power on them. Okay. This is why we need to understand these things that the Most High want us to do so we can always be in his favor. All right. Let's keep going. So that was verse 6 is showing you where that came from. Verse 7. In the time of Moses, also he did a work of mercy. He and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, I'm messing that up, and that they withstood the congregation and withheld the people from sin and appeased the wicked murmuring. All right. So they stood against the congregation. So you see that leadership quality was in him already. All right. Let's look at verse 8. And of 600,000 people on foot, they were too preserved to bring them in the heritage, even unto the land that flowed with milk and honey. Remember, there were only two. Remember, he said, I'm going to wipe everybody else. This is why that time in the wilderness was so long. The Most High promised, I'm going to get them. They were doing that murmuring and stuff because Moses pleaded for them, but the Most High said, no, I'm going to get them. So you can, even though that leader is there to, uh, to advocate for the people, beloved, we can do, if we not careful, we can go too far with the Most High saying, no, I'm not hearing your leader. I'm not hearing no, they going to get it. All right. This is why we never want to get too emotional, too riled up, angry, or whatever, because we can do something in that moment that the Most High is saying, you know what? Nah, nothing's going to pacify this. They're going to have to feel my wrath. All right. We don't wish that on nobody, but we have to be mindful as children of God not to tempt our God with our behaviors and our actions. And if we do something that was, in the moment we know was not right, we need to repent quickly. Not take our time. We need to repent quickly, that the Most High can be appeased of the offense. Let's keep going. Verse 9. The Lord gave strength also unto Caleb, which remained with him until his old age, so that he entered upon the high places of the land, and his seed obtained it for an heritage. All right, so Caleb got the blessing as well because he withstood the congregation when they was murmuring. All right, just because people are murmuring, beloved, talking about something, do not be a part of it. All right, there's a blessing in standing against it. Verse 10, that all the children of Israel might see that it is good to follow the Lord. This thing was shown for us, beloved, for us to see that it's a good thing to what? Follow the Lord. Don't let people get you out of this. Is one of the vices of Satan. Sometimes we wouldn't of our own go out and do certain things, but guess what? He'll use somebody to try to press that button for you to go and do something. Right? You might not talk about that brother, talk about that sister on your own. But you know what? Now you got this brother, sister in your ear, and this person think they all this and this and that. And you think, you know what? They do think they all this. And now they what? They got you. Now you become a part of what? Their sin. If you're not strong enough to resist and deal with certain people, sometimes you got to separate them. You got to separate from certain people. If they're doing things that's constantly feel like it's a temptation can get you up, sometimes you got to what? Remove yourself from those things. All right? We don't want to tempt ourselves with things that's going to make us go against what the Most High have instructed us to do. We don't want to put certain people, and we know certain people that's just they always trying to get us to go against the laws of God. Then you're what? You're tempting by flirting with that. Okay? Most High is giving you the spiritual eyes to see those things for a reason. All right? For preventative measures. The spirit ain't just, oh, when I mess up now, I'm getting all cleared up. No, the spirit's also what? For preventative measures. See the problem. Let me go this way. Let me avoid this situation. Okay? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 11. And concerning the judges, everyone by name, whose heart went not a whoring, not departed from the Lord, let their memory be blessed. Right? I always say, like the unsung heroes. They might not have their names sketched out and everything, but let's give them praise. Because sometimes we get caught up on just the names that show like Moses and David, but there was a lot of righteous men and women that was standing on that truth and that was seeking God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. And they don't always get their name in the books and all that stuff, but we want to honor them and praise them. Even when it comes to a congregation, there's certain, gifts and certain, titles and stuff that a lot of times get glory in some churches, but beloved, the strength of the church comes from what? Members, them unsung heroes, the ones that might not be in the front of the congregation doing certain things, but they're the ones fasting and praying. They deserve the praise as well. There's a lot of leadership, right, that didn't go the wrong route because somebody prayed for them. Somebody was asking the Most High to what? Protect them, guide them. We never want to underestimate or devalue that, beloved. That's so, so important. That's why I always say it. I'm not just saying it to say it. You do anything, pray. Prayer is so, so important. That's those things that give you strength when you want to give up. It encourages you when you're feeling down. So I always say, continue to pray. Pray for one another. But if you like, man, I don't know who to pray for, I will always accept your prayers because I believe in it. Those that's willing to do what's right, want to do what's right. Your prayers matter. Most High hears those prayers. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 12. Let their bones flourish out of their place, and let the name of them that were honored be continued upon their children. All right. So that their children, let their name be echoed right through their children. This is what we should do, beloved. We live in this thing and we're doing this thing, right? Those works and things we're doing, the next generation seeing them, and that could be encouraged for them. When they feel like giving up, they're like, you know what? My sister so-and-so, I remember her testimony, tell what she didn't give up, and that can encourage them. That's the kind of testimony and legacy we want to leave behind. That people will be drawn to what serve the Most High God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength because of the impression and because of the reputation that we left behind with our works through the Spirit, all right, or by the Spirit. Verse 13, Samuel, the prophet of the Lord, beloved of his Lord, established a kingdom and anointed princes over his people. All right. Verse 14, by the law of the Lord he judged the congregation, and the Lord had respect unto Jacob. By his faithfulness he was found a true prophet, and by his words he was known to be faithful in vision. All right. Samuel was definitely a strong prophet. All right. Had a reputation. Sometimes we look at prophets and thinking they all soft and soft spoken, all that kind of stuff. But Samuel was somebody that even people feared when he would come. They got a good message or not, right? So Samuel was definitely well respected and well reverenced in Israel. Verse 16, he called upon the mighty Lord when his enemies pressed upon him on every side, when he offered the sucking lamb. And the Lord thundered from heaven, and with a great noise made his voice to be heard. And he destroyed the rulers of the Tyrians, and all the princes of the Philistines. And before his long sleep, he made protestations in the sight of the Lord and his anointed. I have not taken any man's goods so much as a shoe, and no man did accuse him. And that's a reputation I want to have, beloved. I'll just give you a little insight. I want to be where Michael ain't never take a dime or nothing from me. I ain't never took something. Okay? Because I want that to be a testimony that people can do this work, and the reputation, all these, they just stealing money. There's a lot of them that do, but there's plenty that ain't worried about taking nobody's goods or anything like that. So part of this thing, doing this thing righteous, want to have that testimony. And nobody can say, no, but you took from me. And it can be done. Beloved, all right? It can be done. Verse 20. And after his death, he prophesied and showed the king his end and lift up his voice from the earth in prophecy to blot out the wickedness of the people. Okay. It's going to be referring to that time where really that witch brought some stuff up. Really wasn't Samuel. But it was talking about, because Saul loved them, and Saul loved them and had a lot of confidence in Samuel. However, even though he was close to to that man of God, that prophet, okay, he still chose not to be obedient. All right. So it's good to be around a righteous person, absolutely. But the obedience, that's the key. That's the key. All right. All right, beloved. That is pretty much it. All right. That's Ecclesiasticus chapter 46. Told you it was a short chapter. All right. And we shall end it there. Those that's join us online through YouTube, as always, we say shalom or shalom, which just means peace, and then ayana habatham, which means we love you all, to our YouTube family.